mixed information from different people to stay, go, and yeah, it's just a bit hard at the moment.
Looking at the queues here, it would be a long trip. We actually think we'd be better off staying here. Our motorhome's parked by the water. If anything does happen, we can just go down to the water.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Environmental Coffee House. How are you guys tonight? This is Jennifer Hynes and Sandy Schoelles, and we have a special guest tonight, probably. I'm going to ring her up in New Zealand, and she's going to talk about what her experiences have been with the Australian fires. And I'm going to try that now. And while I'm doing that, Jennifer, boom, boom, take it away.
All right.
And let me ring her up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Environmental Coffee House. We have an action-packed show for you tonight. We're going to talk about two topics that have really come up, two really good interviews that have come up this last week. One is from the ecologist William Rees, and this is from Sam Mitchell's Collapse Chronicles. And this is probably the clearest and probably one of the most dire summaries of our predicament. So we'll be talking about that, and it's called On Our Present Trajectory, We Will Crash, and it won't be pleasant. So as you can see, we've got a cheerful show. Not. And then the other thing that we're going to be, is she not?
Go ahead. I'll get it all good and done.
And then the other thing that we're going to be talking about is an article that came out on the 1st from Ted Rall, R-A-L-L, a grim new definition of Generation X. And that's an article that came out in Common Dreams. So we'll be covering both of those, as well as the Australian wildfires and how disastrous they are. And we're trying to bring in right now Trish, who is going to give us kind of on-the-spot reporting from down under.
Yeah,
So,
I gotta write to her and find out what's going on while we get this going. So how is everybody? I have to write to her. Forgive me. We had it all done and it was fine, and she was coming back to be on with us, and I've got to just give her a little note and say, "What's going on? Where are you?" I've tried it a couple times. I'm just wondering if I have to add her on the phone, because she's not going to be graphic. She's not going to be graphic. Oh, wait, it says 2 of 3 in the call. I'm trying to get her. Renata Peters, welcome. And hi, Heidi and Kim. My gosh, I hope this works, because what we saw in the video, we've all been watching what's been going on and what's been transpiring in Australia. And I have been reading comments from people and them talking about the political aspect of Morrison, who is a climate denier, who was in Hawaii during the fires, and who is now supposedly going to India, and it's a coal deal. So it's kind of a little disconcerting for the people in Australia with all the loss. And I'm sorry that I'm having problems getting her on the call. That's weird, guys. I had it all set up. Well, you know what, Jen? Do you want to do a little bit of do you want to then change it and talk about oh, wait. 3 of 3 in the call. Trish, are you here?
Hi, guys.
Oh, hi, Trish. Welcome. Introduce yourself to the crew. It's probably a lot of people who know who you are, but welcome and go for it. Trisha?
Hi, guys. Is it working now?
Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead,
we can hear you.
Yeah, introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, guys. I'm Trisha. I live on the South Island of New Zealand, and familiar to viewers of the Natural Progressive, possibly. And I'm an ex-journalist, mainstream, and been following the Australian bushfires, and also, sorry, I just watched your video and it gets me.
My video?
Seeing it in our skies. New Year's Day here was orange.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And that's even on the South Island in New Zealand. So the continent of Australia is basically on fire, and all that soot and all that particulate matter is drifting over to New Zealand. Is that correct, Tricia?
Yes, that's right. And the media finally caught up with that, and they flew up to Mount Cook and did some footage on the glaciers up there and what's left of the snow, because it's midsummer here at the moment. So what's left of the snow is now brown. And previously, about a month ago, it went pink when they were using a lot of fire accelerant on the fires in near Sydney, and so for the glaciers he went sort of pinky brown. So yeah, we're seeing very visibly what's going on. And if the skies aren't golden, just about every day there's sort of dirty smoky stream and you can smell it. And
oh my God,
it's created a weird atmosphere because people kind of subdued over Christmas. I noticed that shopping and everything, there was this kind of mood in the community that it's affecting people here. We have a very close relationship with Australia. A lot of us have friends and family there, have been there. Many of us have lived there. I haven't, but lots of friends have, and my grandmother and my mother both did. And so we're like sort of cousins or brother and sister. So, it's it's really affecting much more than Australia, obviously. Yeah.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. But the worst part for me, I guess, is those that are looking at the carnage and looking at the animal loss and are with the prime minister there. Tricia, can you tell us a little bit about Australian what you hear about Australian politics in regards to this?
Well, I've been a health activist for a while and developed some very close friends in Australia who were involved in lobbying for better health standards over there, and also some things that might be controversial for a lot of people. So I won't mention it, but more in the natural health line. And what I found, and that was about 3 or 4 years ago, and what I found through those friends, and they're great people actually, and what I found was that they were just totally disenchanted with the government. They've had 9 years of sort of right-wing economics and a lot of selling off the land and the businesses to China, and feeling like their own country is not their own anymore, and also not being listened to. And that's become very clear in the recent, well, it was yesterday, I think, or the day before, when Scotty Morrison went to Cobargo, and not everyone in Australia is rich. I mean, it's a great country, but because of economic conditions, there are a lot of poor people there now, and that kind of anger was just seen very visibly when he went to Cobargo, and they basically told him to F off. I can understand why. The government has at times been borderline fascist, and particularly under Malcolm Turnbull, but he's actually decided these days to speak out about climate change, which is a little strange once you get out of office that you start doing that. But they are going to have to face climate change, and they are going to have to do a lot more than they're doing already. Now, Australia makes a lot of money from coal. They've got extensive coal reserves, I think, particularly in the north. And Morrison said yesterday that they're not going to do anything about that because it's employing a lot of people. But I just have one response to that, and I think Guy McPherson might have said this first, is that there are no jobs on a dead planet. And what we are seeing is the really first, for Australasia anyway, visible unfolding of something we can just about no longer control, and is not going to end well.
Well, I found the article. It was from a publication called AFR. No, that's AFR.com. The Financial Review, and it actually is on pressure mounting on Morrison over bushfire inquiry, and he's. But they want an emergency meeting, but it's just like it's almost impossible to get that going with this guy. It's really sad.
Well, yeah, and I think anyone who watched or caught up with any of the COP25 recent meeting in Madrid was particularly stunned by the behaviour of the Australian camp. I mean, they basically sort of tried to sort of completely waffle around the houses and hijack them some discussions and pretend they were doing something, but everyone knows they're not. And almost indicated they had no intention to. Now, it's sort of karmic. This has happened so very quickly afterwards because it's a very visible representation of the fact that every country in the world has to face this and to start listening to the climate scientists like McPherson, Beckwith, AL, and start listening to the people. And Extinction Rebellion as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is. You're right. Well, I don't know. Henry Holt is here. And actually, Henry, I was so worried about you when you said you had to evacuate. And then going south, Torstein wrote me today, Henry's on with with Collapse Chronicles, and I'm here thinking, oh, Henry's commenting, everything's okay. I have to go back and watch. I didn't know. Who knows where I've been today in my own little world of whatever. So, Jennifer, do you know Henry? He's a
No,
frequent
I don't.
commenter. Jennifer, meet Henry Holt. He lives in
Hi, Henry.
Australia. He's been through. I really wish you could call us and come on with us here, Henry, on Skype. Find me.
Yeah.
That would be great. Where is he?
Henry, where are you? He says everything is gone. The fire is merciless. Henry,
Yeah.
it's hurting. I was worried, and I'm so happy that you're with us. But where are you? You should call us on Skype and come on in. It seems like my bandwidth is working. Maybe I don't know. It'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Hi, Beso. What are you saying? Basil says, I've been offline for about 2 weeks. The roaring 20s may be our time to get our shit together before we get shit on forever. Yeah, definitely.
No kidding.
Definitely.
No kidding. Hey, Sandy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, Sandy, that I quoted that 500 million animals so far since September, but I actually looked that up. That is only New South Wales. So there's all the animals that have been destroyed in every other state by the fires, as well as South Australia, Kangaroo Island, Queensland, Western Australia. So yeah, I mean, that's 500 million is only one state. And
that is so sad.
You know what? I literally threw up the other day. I had to literally got sick and went to the bathroom over this stuff.
Yeah, we've had some moments here.
I heard a very scary, or actually read a very scary article about these fires in Australia. There was this man who was trying to defend his land, and he wouldn't leave, and he survived, but he survived because he built himself a coffin-shaped kiln. And he hid inside of it, and he had water and oxygen and things like that inside the kiln. And when he couldn't stop it anymore, and it was just going to overtake his land as it did, and it overtook his house and burned his house down, he went into this kiln and lay down and, just was there for a couple of hours while the fire burned his house down.
He's actually lucky. And I don't think they'd recommend that as a way to go, because these fires are actually melting cars. They're melting the inside engines, and they're just a running heap of molten metal on the ground. They're melting some things that they're unrecognizable. And, okay, you could build a fallout shelter type thing in the ground, but these fires are apparently heating up the underground as well and running along, this is what I've been told, running along underground and then popping up somewhere else. So I wouldn't recommend, I would just recommend just getting the heck out of there. And Victoria has now, the Premier has made it legal to actually forcibly evacuate people, but some people just stubbornly don't want to go, and the fireys are just saying, look, we're exhausted, we're stretched, we can't help you if you get into trouble. Yeah.
Henry says he's going to try to join this little party, and
really?
He asked me for my address, but I don't know it. I just look through it for my name. I have no idea what the hell it is. Just look through it through my name. I put it on there. I hope it's on there, or you give me yours. How cool this all is. Sorry, I took myself off because I'm looking for stuff, but if Henry comes on with us, then that would really be very cool. Wow. Wow. I hope he can find me. I don't know, how do you find out what your address is on Skype when it's right? It just says Sandra Schoelles. So
you just type Sandra Schoelles, you just type in your email address or put in the number that's on Environmental Coffee House Facebook page. That's what I did this morning, and that's how I found you. this morning.
Oh, but
Yay!
he's Skyping me on my phone. Wait a minute. I have no idea what's going on. I can't answer it on the telephone because it won't come up. It won't come on to us. Oh, guys, the show is not so professional tonight, but we've got people trying to get in. Henry, let me look for you while you guys talk.
Maybe you could just put him on audio through the phone if you can't find him.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Jen?
Yeah. Well, I hope that he can join. I think you actually have to initiate it because it's kind of like that particular line, you know?
Yeah, it might be. I think, oh, wait, I found him. Okay, I'm updating the conversation. I'm going to call him. I think it might work. Okay. Let's see. Are you there, Henry?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Now I got to call.
Initiate it
But
because
hold on,
it's kind of like that particular line, you know?
I hear a very bad echo.
Yeah, that's a bad echo. Let me turn this.
Yeah. I don't see your face. And I lost Jennifer.
I don't know how to turn it to show me my face. So what do I do with that situation? Oh, here we go. Camera's on. Camera's on now. Camera's on now. Here we are.
Oh, there you are. But now let's bring. Hi, Henry. Everybody, look,
Hi.
Henry's with us. But there's a lag. But wait, now let me add Jennifer back.
Can you see behind me here? Because this is my daughter's guinea pigs, right? And they're the most important thing because my daughter's about to arrive and 45 degrees. Oh, it's 45 degrees outside in Sydney at the moment. So she rang me up and she said, Dad, you better put the guinea pigs in there because otherwise they're going to die of heat.
Oh, my God. Well, give us a little synopsis while I'm trying to get Jennifer back on with all the...
you lost Jennifer.
Yes, I'm hoping I have enough bandwidth. Who the hell knows? She's supposedly on, and then we had Trisha, so, I'm not... Go ahead, give us a little synopsis, and then we'll tell everybody to go over to Collapse Chronicles.
Actually, I had a long interview this morning with Sam and we talked and talked, and sometimes I can just ramble on, and I don't know whether he's going to keep it or not because there was a lot of rambling.
Right, but that's okay. That's his style.
So, but it was great to connect with Sam, because it's funny in crises like this, people have to come together, and that's been happening a lot. Well, one example is my house at the moment is surrounded by fire trucks in Malakuta. But there's another fire coming from the other direction. So basically the town was burnt down. And my house was just in the right position to be saved. There weren't many houses saved, and mine was one of them. But now the fire's coming from another direction, and there's massive heat down there today. So, so my sister, my wife's sister's house burnt down, and she's staying in my house, and they don't even have clothes to wear on their backs, So.
Oh my God.
So it's a pretty desperate situation. A lot of people, there would be 100 houses burnt down there that people I know. When the fire came in, it was like a freight train. It came in, and there's cars blowing up, trees blowing up, gas bottles blowing up, like a war zone. Totally and utterly. Really like
that. Evidently, there's going to be a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder in the country. There's going to be a lot of basic, I would say a lot of mental health issues after going through this. So Australia and California have something together. I feel really bad that I don't have Jennifer now on the call. I think it might be my. I tried. I think it might be my my country internet.
Do you think you can only take two people? I can.
But
that's enough. I can go.
No, I want to finish up, but I want you to talk while I'm farting around with this thing. So tell
All
everybody
right,
where
so-
you are and exactly what happened.
Okay, so I escaped, but I won't tell everything because I just done an hour interview with Sam, and
Yeah, we'll get everybody to go. We'll get everybody to go to Collapse Chronicles and watch
Yeah.
it. But at least we got to have you on here.
And because I support you and I support Sam, and one of the, I suppose the theme
You're
behind it.
good friends here. You're in the family.
Absolutely.
Now I'm gonna find
And,
Jennifer.
You find Jennifer, and I'll keep talking.
Yes.
So, you know, it's desperately dry. That's the most important thing to know is that the desperation of the dryness is unbelievable. It's and it's been going, and I knew it was going to happen.
You knew it
because it was beyond repair, you know, and it's when it gets that bone dry, because you're talking about massive forests, chlorophyll forests that are used to moisture, and it's a high moisture area, you know, and when that moisture is taken away, then of course, you know, it goes up. Now, inevitably, you always get fires in Australia. You know, it's always been that you get a lot of fires in Australia, but this is unbelievably extreme, you know, and you've got thousands of people that got stranded, and you know, it's not only my town, all the way up the coast. If you imagine the whole of America being on fire, you know, pretty much that's
that's insanity. I looked at the fire maps. I've seen all the fire maps showing all the areas. It's overwhelming. And this is, to me, the beginning. This is, well, it's not the beginning. We're already in it. But this is just
Jennifer's back.
Hi there.
Jennifer, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. And also, if you can message Trish and have her just accept your call, then maybe she can come into this as well.
All right. Well, we tried. I can't get all the graphics up, but we tried.
Yeah.
So
she and I've been having a full-blown conversation about this whole thing, talking about the whole thing.
Oh, I see you, Jennifer, on Skype, but I don't know how to get your face in there.
I can see you.
I can too, but everybody else can't on the video, I don't think. But okay, Jennifer, you look beautiful. Okay, let's Jennifer.
So Trisha's all alone.
Yeah.
Right now. She's probably just talking to herself. We were having a full-blown conversation about the effect of the Australian wildfires and the effect of the albedo on the glaciers of New Zealand, on and on and on about this. So two conversations going in parallel.
Oh no, I've lost Jennifer again. Oh no, there she is. Sorry.
What a night. But it's cool. It's cool. This is like the maiden voyage with so many people.
Yeah. So Henry, you are speaking to us tonight from Australia, and you're hopefully not affected by any of these fires that are happening right now.
Well, no, I've evacuated. I evacuated a week ago, and we've been evacuating for a week. So it took us pretty much. We were surrounded, and then we got surrounded. So I would say there's no really there's no really safe place, but there are safer places.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Meaning that, you know, there's not really when you're out, like I'm in the inner city of Sydney at the moment. That's where we ended up. But that's reasonably safe because there's not much bush around here to burn. But there is on the outskirts, and Sydney's had a lot of fires recently. But south of here is on fire, totally and utterly. And actually today is catastrophic again, the same way it was a week ago. So it's all very, it's pushing. Everyone's been pushed to the limit, totally and utterly, and it's extreme, very extreme circumstances, and there will be consequences.
Oh my God. Well, I think this could be a pretty big dawning of awareness for the Australian people in general, because unfortunately, your government is very kind of pro-denialist and very pro-coal burning and anti-global warming. They're not really much into science, but you know what? Here in the United States, neither are we either. So, we've got that in common, unfortunately. But I think this could be a huge, when fire is raging all around you, and it has never happened like this ever. It's unprecedented, never happened like this before, where the whole country seems to be burning down. Even people's very stubborn refusal to take a look at the effects of climate change, that's got to really kind of shake them up, I would think, wouldn't you?
Well, you would think so. Scott Morrison is a Pentecostal Christian, and he is also comes from a very conservative background, and doesn't probably believe in any of this, and believes that the best is yet to come. That's his attitude. And I know it. I know people like that, and I would say that the people that have probably will have a mind shift is those hundreds of thousands. Thousands and thousands of tourists that have been stranded, that have had to come away from their holidays and have been affected by the fire. In fact, my neighbour next door to me, in my hometown that was burnt down, rang me up when I told him that I think his house is okay, because there's a lot of houses and he wasn't there. And I said, I think your house is okay. He turned around to me on the phone. He said, I think this global warming thing is real, So he's somebody that, but whether it's going to shift people into doing anything, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't even know whether it's global warming doing it. I'm assuming it is. The evidence says it is, But how long is it going to take before it gets really bad? And will we recover? Will a big East Coast low come? I don't know. That could happen as well. So, inevitably, what we're doing is, continuing the wheels of, destruction. But it's pretty hard to stop that.
Yeah. Especially when you have a maniac in our country that wants to go to war now.
Oh my God, that's a whole nother thing, isn't it?
Yeah. When Henry leaves, we might do a little on that. We had a whole repertoire, but this was really great to have you.
Listen, I won't hang around because I've actually got to go because my family's about to arrive, and I've got to.
Well, Henry, I am so happy that you're safe. That's really super important. That was the most important thing.
I'm so glad I met you, Sandy. You're just, we love you. Love you guys, and what you're doing is fantastic. And I got to go and look after the guinea pigs. So
okay, thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Safe. Yes, we'll do this again.
Nice
Henry.
to meet you.
Everybody will go to Collapse Chronicles. Bye, Henry. Everybody will go to Collapse Chronicles and watch the interview with Henry Holt and Sam Mitchell. And Jennifer, do you want? I don't. Oh wait, Trisha. She said it won't let her back. Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, then maybe we should just move on to the next piece of what we had planned.
Yeah, I think so. And this kind of segues right into what we've been talking about. And this is an article, Sandy, that came out just 2 days ago on January 1st. Happy New Year's, everybody. And it's an article by Ted Rall, R-A-L-L. And it says, a grim new definition of Generation X. Mm-hmm. Nihilism is about to become the worst possible life strategy. So this is a pretty, it really kind of makes you stop and think. Both of these pieces that we're going to be covering tonight have to do actually with population and what's going to happen to the current generation possibly. So I'm just going to read one little paragraph here to kind of give you a flavor of the article. It's not nice. A lot of us have children, and we're very scared for our children and our grandchildren. So here goes. Millennials and children we call Generation Z face the horrifying prospect that they will get stuck with the tab for humanity's centuries-long rape of planet Earth, the mass desecration of which radically accelerated after 1950. Most of us were born after 1950, and our entire lives, it's just been one big escalating party going straight up. That's resulting in the destruction of our biosphere and our Earth. There is an intolerably high chance that today's young people will starve to death, die of thirst, be killed by a superstorm, succumb to a new disease, boil to death, asphyxiate from air pollution, be murdered in a riot, or shot or blown up in a war sparked by environmentally related political instability long before they survive to old age. So it's all pointing to destruction of life as we know it, and kind of this is the industrial civilization crumbling around the edges and starting to fall away, and we're the ones that are going to really reap the what's going to happen to us. So what do you what do you think about that, Sandy?
Millennials and the children that we call Generation Z face that horrifying prospect that they will get stuck with the tab for centuries-long rape of planet Earth. And it as we talked earlier, it reminded me of the conversation with my 31-year-old who knows what I do, who reads the stuff, who's smart, but they want to move down south. They want to move to Richmond, Virginia. And I said, Dawn, don't you think that it's, don't you know it's going to get hotter and hotter, hon? And she said to me, she just said, Mom, will you just forget about climate change? They don't want to stay in the snow. So what do I do with that? What do we do with that? A lot of us have that in our families where we're not going to be able to talk about any of this with them, even though she understands it. What do I think? We can't stop it.
No, we can't. And that's the frustrating thing. People are saying, well, why talk about it? If you don't give me any solutions, don't take away my hope. Don't even tell me about this. I don't want to know. And, in a certain way, they kind of have a point. What do you think?
Yeah, don't take away. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Because if she's, okay, I'm just using my point of reference of what I know. If she's knows what's happening, live life to the fullest. And that's what they are. They are living life to the fullest. They're not getting off fossil fuels. They're using them. And even with, with everything that how I am, my brother in Oregon is, the way we live, well, you can't pick your parents and you can't pick your kid. You can only do the best. So how do I feel? I don't know. Hey, Kim has kids. Kim, what do you think? Kim Santino's here. She has kids, and I know that we've talked about our kids too, together. And it's the same. They're living their life because, especially with the student loans that there's a lot of them are saddled with, and just trying to live. Just trying to live.
Life is complicated enough without all this complication around us that's going to result in the loss of all life on Earth, possibly.
I hear
it's very
you.
sad.
Well,
very
Trisha,
sad indeed.
I don't see her, but so let me. Where did you leave off on this one?
Well, if you want to read the paragraph that begins with long threatened.
All right, long threatened. Okay, here we go. The Common Dreams article. Long threatened, never taken seriously. Not even now that it's staring us right in the face. Human extinction is coming for the children and grandchildren we claim to love but won't lift a finger to save. Shelves sag under the weight of books that have been written arguing that we will still have a chance to save ourselves. I wish I could believe that. The human population has tripled since the 1950s. More than 1 million species have gone extinct. 90% of the fish in the ocean have vanished, replaced by 1 billion tons of plastic. 2/3 of the trees have been cut down. The polar ice cap is gone. It's never coming back. You know,
Yeah.
Jen,
And,
go
yeah.
ahead, because I hear
Well,
you.
when he says the polar ice cap is gone, in particular, what he's talking about is the Arctic sea ice. You know, when the Arctic sea ice goes, and we talk about it and talk
Yep.
about it and talk about it, but it's true, guys. When the Arctic sea ice goes, the Arctic Ocean is going to get very hot, and this is going to result in a huge number of feedbacks. Not the least of which is a potential methane bomb, since there's so much methane in the East Siberian Arctic shelf. Ted goes on and he says, we can't stop global warming. An increase of 4 degrees Celsius over baseline is set at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution means game over. We're well on our way there. It doesn't make sense to think that we can avoid extinction. So this is a very
In common
kind
dreams.
yeah, it's a very kind of I mean, I don't know what I would call it. I definitely would call it dark. I would definitely call it realistic. I found it interesting to read the comments in this. There are about 40 comments so far in this article, and if you bring it up, you know, Sandy will put it in the show notes. Read the comments because it's very interesting. He gets a lot of criticism. You know, of course, you know, people react quite violently. Some people are saying, right on, this is the clearest explanation of our situation that I've ever heard. And other people call him, and other people call him a whack, you know?
Let's see. Oh, here's one. In my opinion, Ted Rell seriously damages his credibility as a serious person by linking to an article which treats the suicide cult of McPherson and Drumright as on par with thinkers like James Hansen. Well, you know, there's a continuum. I always say there's a continuum. I mean, we're all under the same umbrella. That's why I say that in Environmental Coffee House. And we talk about all of this is under the same umbrella. So what's with this commenter? Far from representing a consensus of deep green thought, Guy McPherson has been quietly called out by the leadership of deep green resistance, Derek Jensen, Laird Keith, etc., as a warning to their membership to stay away from the maniac. Wow, this is a contentious comment. We're bringing a little gossip into the show. Oh my gosh.
Really?
None of this represents the host's opinions. We are just reading one. Not only is GM an authority on any arbitrary scientific matter, he styles himself as a grief therapist so he can tenderly attend to the victims of his shows with private sessions later. Okay, we're not going there. That's old stuff.
Don't read it.
No, I'm looking for something good. We don't need the gossip. We're done with that. And let's see.
Right. Okay, so this is an example of something. I just saw this really good interview between Greta and Naomi Klein. It was done when Greta was here in the U.S. And it's just stunning. Just search for it. You might be able to find it on.
I think I saw that one.
It was really, really good. And Greta was very frank and open and talking about things. And, you know, she said, you know, it's interesting when I say our house is on fire, which is what Greta says. So Greta says, if I say to you, there's a big fire over there,
right,
a normal person would look over at that fire and say, oh yeah, there is a fire over there. We should put it out. Instead, the person says to Greta, but what are you wearing? You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant.
Like opposite world. We're in this crazy, irrelevant opposite world. You're kind of right. I don't know if I could find this. Anyway, it wouldn't be. I won't have it to put up, but that's cool. I could get that and put it into the notes.
It's
Sure.
this is a very thoughtful article. I'm just going to read one more little paragraph
Yeah.
so you can kind of get a feeling for how intense this article is. It's not very long, but it's super intense. So it's time for people who are younger than I am to start thinking about how they want to spend the rest of their likely to be truncated lives and how they plan to face mass premature death. This is an intense article, right?
Wow. Yeah, I put it up. I put it up so everybody could see it. Wow. Yeah, it is a pretty intense article. And so was the interview with Ted, what was his name? Ted
William
William
Rees.
Rees on Collapse Chronicles. And then I went after that and I watched the one with him on Peak Prosperity. Now, there's one that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that interview made so much sense to me. We are in overshoot, and he is. I know you wanted to talk about that one, and
Absolutely.
I had a clip, but I'm not sure if it's going to work.
No worries. No worries.
No worries.
I thought yeah, right. No worries. I thought that William Rees's interview with Sam Mitchell was really interesting because he really addressed the population problem and that we really have a waste management problem, right? We've got a waste management problem, and our biggest waste product as a civilization is CO2. It's not our only one, but it's one of the biggest ones. And he also addressed the fact that we're in exponential growth still. And he said basically that we are in, what did he say? A plague? We're in a plague
phase. Not calling us a plague, but saying that we are suffering from a plague now at the population we're at and because of the greenhouse gases.
Right. Right. And we're just really at the edge where our Petri dish, if you think of the entire human civilization as evolving in a little Petri dish, from 200,000 years ago, really, because that's when, modern anatomically human beings came into existence, more or less, right? And then, it's from now until 200,000 years ago to fill up this little Petri dish of a doubling. And so he explained the doubling. And at first, if you only have like one or two bacteria in a Petri dish, you can't even see them. And if those double and double and double, but finally, as we know, our Petri dish is now full. So as we double again, the whole thing is going to probably start to cave, and that is going to be the crumbling of civilization as we know it, and it's going to lead to mass food shortages, amazing natural disasters, of which we've just been talking about. Wildfires is one of them, and all sorts of things are going to happen, and possibly nuclear. God help us. Let's give a nod to our pending World War III, brought to you, thank you very much, by our absolutely crazy president of the United States.
And that brings me to there's a comment here from Kevin calls it Pradhan 100. In Russia, there is a lot of climate denialism. This is, at least in part, to Western academia forcing ideas like the free market economy on them. Lots suffered and died in the 90s. Well, that's a definite can of worms. Wow, that one. That's something to explore. We really don't. Thanks for that comment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Natalia Shakova does not come out publicly. You've never seen her do an interview in places like this. She doesn't do it. She's Russian. I bet she's under a lot of pressure because Russia is very pro drill in the Arctic.
Yeah, I know they are. I absolutely understand that. that. But
Mm-hmm.
getting back to that that interview and other things, I watched him say because really the Chris Martenson one was good too. He repeats some of the same types of things, but this is his study. This is what the results of all the work he's done, and it was of a
Yeah.
lot of people were very awakened maybe by what he said.
Well, he's just so damn clear. So
Yeah, and so are you.
Uh, William Reese received his PhD degree in population ecology
Yeah.
from the University of Toronto. So population ecology, put those two things together. I mean, population is the verboten topic. You're really not, I mean, it's impolite, right, to mention it, because people always feel, well, it's my right to have children. It's part of my fulfillment as a human being. And it's kind of hard to argue against that. But the fact remains that our population is in exponential growth and our petri dish is full. So we're going to see the result. I mean, right now we have about 7.4 billion people on the earth now, I believe. Is that right? And they say that in a few years we're going to have 9 billion people, and we're adding something like 80 million people to the earth every XX amount of time. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing how many people are being born on this earth. And every single person who's born wants to have a full life and wants to be happy and wants to have their own children and, have this whole thing roll out. Well, we can't do it anymore. So
So who
he
gets to
was,
tell all these people that they have to stop? Who tells the Gen X, the millennials and younger? Well, the worldwide, we're going to have to put policies in every single country that limits to no or one child. And, you think any of this stuff will ever
mhm.
happen?
The thing of it is, we actually could solve this right now by stopping births. Of course, we wouldn't have growth in our society and the stock market would crumble and everything like that. But if we just limited population to, I mean, China's been doing it for a long, long time with kind of mixed results, but their one child policy has paid off because they were at 1 billion people a long time ago and they haven't grown too
No.
much since then.
Well, we've got a comment that what you said was false, and Paul
Oh,
says
really?
population exponential growth is ending. Our final population will be under 10 billion. Now, don't you
Okay.
think that maybe it's not going to grow because we're going to go extinct? Jeez.
Well, it might be
No.
a sort of self-regulating thing, but we'll have to
Yeah.
see what happens. But it's very serious subject.
Sure. All the things that have helped with medical advances and all the technology. Was that his video? Because there's so many I listen to that he was
Yeah.
talking about. Those were some of those the variables as to why we have vaccines, we have all kinds of life-saving things,
Hmm.
and the more comfort, the more people procreate. There's no
Hmm.
hardship, and especially in the Western where
That's
we
right.
live, where we live.
Yeah.
So what's
Right.
going
So,
on in the chat?
yeah. So he's been talking a
Yeah.
lot about William Reese. He worked on the ecological footprint analysis for his PhD. So he's all about the ecological footprint of the human population and population ecology. And I think that is probably the crux of the matter right there.
Yeah, that's the crux of the matter. My God. Humans are defective, thinking they're superior over every other living being that are just trying to survive, but humans always demand more. Thank you,
Hmm.
Stephen. Yeah, but I still can't, because I'm with all you beautiful humans and I care for all of you. I can't sit here and say that humans are the cancer, but they are definitely a parasite, I guess. I mean, but we could get into that whole thing, but that's Natural Progressive just joined us. They have been dealing with all of the antinatalism and ephilism and all those things, and we don't have to here because they've been doing it. I don't know if you even know what it is. Ephilism? I didn't know what it was until I had listened to this in Mendham after. Do you remember when, I think it was Humpty Dumpty Tribe had this guy interviewed Gary? His name is In Mendham. And he
I
came
don't
on.
remember him.
All right. Well, it was wild. It was a wild one. But so did you want to segue into something?
No, I have segued myself into this problem that can't really be solved and is hopeless. So I'm not really sure where to segue at this point.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, well then I have a couple of little housekeeping things. Chris will be on with me on Facebook on Sunday for her birthday. And I don't know how to simulcast anything, Chris, so if you ask me, it will probably be something not in my ability. And then Jennifer, I think we've done really well with 4 Friday nights in a row.
I can't believe we've actually done that.
I know. And actually been able to, we brought on someone from Australia. We brought on someone from New Zealand. And that, I mean, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
That was pretty amazing, actually, kind of on the fly. Not bad, Sandy. Kudos to you.
Not bad, not bad. And I had one more. Oh, I was going to put up this. I didn't want to forget. If everybody can see this, I have it right. Frozen Earth. Frozen.Earth. Climate Crush TV. Your channel for the end times. Okay, that is the advertisement of the evening. Jennifer, have you got an advertisement of the evening?
Smoke them if you've got them.
Smoke them if you got them, babies. Well, let's see out there. Karen says, thank you, Sandy and Jen. Yeah, for not feeling too great today. Like my neck was killing me. I got my groove on, baby. 1960s, yeah. Jennifer. Ew. I got my groove on. Yeah, I got my groove on. That'll last about another 20 minutes, and then probably bedtime. Hi, Human. Human says, Human likes kids. Well, I mean, it's not their fault. They just keep getting bored. Right? Right. All right, guys. Well, I think we have 75 people with us. Give us the thumbs up.
God.
Come
we
on,
have
give us
75
the thumbs
people?
Up. Yeah,
Thanks
awesome.
for joining us
and
in
Heidi,
this very hopeless topic.
Actually, Heidi did want me to bring something up. She's been talking about the NECEC, and that was what it was that I didn't want to forget. And we're not quite at an hour, not quite. So here, Heidi, I will. I'll put the link up for everybody, and it's about what's happening in Maine and how of course, planet eaters want to go through from Canada all the way through Maine to go feed power into New Hampshire, and it will be a destructive force in Maine. It will forever alter. And even, there's two sides to the story, but it's NECEC, and she's been, well, she's an activist, unbelievable activist, Heidi is. So I'll just put this up, and Heidi says, if anyone wants to help stop the NECEC, please see my Facebook profile description and look for my short Facebook post about the situation. And there's a good video on it. It's another, fight. And that's all we do. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to see them win this, just like we won, and we're still fighting against the Northern Access Pipeline. But the fights are on, and there's any number of things.
And you have to fight for what you believe in. You have to you can't just kind of say, oh, it's all hopeless, so I'm going to roll over and die and just watch sitcoms for the rest of my life. I mean, that's that's one response, but but it doesn't really, I mean, you have hope in a different way. You have hope in your own spirit, you know, in your response to it.
I have hope I wake up tomorrow morning and just maybe can make it to put a piece of firewood without dying. I can't get through one video without whining about something.
Oh, but you know, I don't blame you at all. Pain is very tough to get through. Chronic pain.
Every day. Hi, Chris Foster. It is 3 a.m. where Chris Foster is. He's with
where
us.
is Chris Foster?
He is in, are you in the UK, Chris? Or he's in that part of the world. I know he's in that part of the world. Well, everybody, let's see. Jeffrey Pearson, Osama, Shurhana. She had a nice little comment. Top definition for 2020. Collapsitarian, Mad Max. A collapsitarian is one who believes that society should collapse. All right, that's what a collapsitarian is, one that thinks society should collapse. And at that, I think, Jean, you're here. And thank you, everyone. All 70 or 68 or Wallaby. Oh, wow. Wallaby Records. Oh, Wallaby Records. This is my channel for the end times. Well, we'll certainly smile a lot while we're going down on this ship. Right? Right. All right, guys. We are an hour and 1 minute. So peace, love to all of you. Thank you, Jennifer. We'll be here next Friday night, right?
Yes, next Friday.
Yeah.
Same time, same channel.
I'm so happy Henry could join, and thank you, Tricia.
All right.